The one thing about Skyrim modding is that every time you think, okay, no, just no, it cannot get any better, any more creative and epic, Skyrim modding stage just proves us wrong again. And it's same for year 2022. Some of the mods released this year are bringing Skyrim gameplay to such a new level that it's hard to believe it's ever possible. 10 years after the release, Skyrim not just remains alive, it becomes even better than just a year ago. And to show this is not just some kind of bravado, let's proceed straight to the 10 best Skyrim mods released in 2022. Skeletons, skeletons, skeletons everywhere. Ah, god damn it. If I could just somehow... Now that's better. Sometimes the most epic features lie in most simple changes. GS Shout Apart Skeletons makes it so unrelenting force now instantly will kill weaker skeletons and send their bones flying. The more bones, the merrier. Simple as that, but honestly, that's one of the most just satisfying mods I have ever installed in years. Mod is also highly configurable. It allows you to set the level of the shout to do this trick, 1, 2 or all 3 watts of power, and you can also easily include the mod added skeletons to the mod coverage. At the same time, it's balanced and various tiers of high-level skeletons will not be affected by this feature, making it mostly a great immersion booster. For years, there is a mod called Fires Hurt that, well, makes fires hurt, which makes sense. At the same time, on the other side, why rain, storms and frost spells were never able to put the fires down? Rain Extinguishes Fires mod does just that. During the rainy weather, city fires, campfires and the giant campfires will now stop burning, being extinguished by the rain with the corresponding visual effects. Mod also allows to put fire out with their frost spells, but practically, at least currently, this feature is a little wonky. You can also burn the fires again by using fire spells. Isn't that one of those tiny but truly immersion-bringing mods? Here is how regular Skyrim combat looks when fighting multiple enemies at once. Your typical gang fight, yeah. And here is a bit different approach. It is a subtle difference, but if you pay attention, you can see that the crowded combat AI is now similar to modern RPG's combat like The Witcher 3. When you're fighting too many enemies at once, the rest of them are not just stupidly attacking you at all at the same time in the same spot, but are circling around carefully, waiting for their chance to strike. In my opinion, while making a seemingly simple difference, it's actually way more immersive and balanced. First of all, vanilla AI for this often resulted in just ridiculous situations like I showed at first. Secondly, it allowed more cheating when you can easily abuse this AI to gather like 10 or 15, 20 enemies together and finish them off with a couple of splash spells, for instance. Wait your turn enemy circling behavior adds these mechanics, which is also fully configurable. While making combat just much more rational, it also can be a helper with a hardcore combat setup to make fights more fair for the player. It is lightweight and compatible with absolutely everything, including mod-added NPCs on fly. If there is a year of something for 2K22 Skyrim modding, it is surely animations. First of all, let's begin from a small, subtle things that just should always existed in the game to begin with. Skyrim lacked animations everywhere, and the animation mods from the mod author Cyclist are changing this on the micro level. For instance, items equipping and unequipping animations, armors, boots, gloves, helmets, rings and necklaces, all having different subtle animations for gear equipping and unequipping. Oh, and they even work during walking and running, available for followers as well, and can be toggled off and on separately in MCM. Another example are idle animations for NPCs that are actively searching for the player, making them look like someone who actually wants to find and eliminate you and not a walking mannequin. Lastly, there are small but logical changes to reanimated troll animations, making them to look and move more undead and soullessly. If we talk about immersion, it is also about how the Skyrim world looks. There are many mods that are changing look of the roads and nearby places, but this year a king of such mods was released. Lux Via is reworking main roads while still focusing on lighting, adding consistent light sources between towns and villages, improving or reworking from scratch many bridges, crossroads, and adding a lot of points of interest to make roads more interesting and believable. It also comes with a cozy installer that supports large amount of other popular mods that may conflict, offering patches for those. JKrojmal places Overhauls. JK is probably the most creative and active author when it comes for improving the look of the settlements. His design approach and impressive productivity is definitely something to be put in today's list. Having already released over 40 mods in total, JK is mostly focusing on interiors, covering both popular and well-known locations such as Dragon's Reach or College of the Winterhold, or logically improving look of many locations usually forgotten by other authors, such as Cinderion's Field Laboratory, Septimus Sinus Outpost, Sky Heaven Temple, and so on. He is also sometimes covering exterior partially and lately released a large overhaul of a whole area around Whiterun, which makes the place just so much more looking like an actual city outskirts and simply alive. I would never think that I can place seemingly a simple model and texture replacer mod into the list of 10 best mods of the year in 2022, but just take a look on this masterpiece yourself. Security Overhaul SKSE Lock Variations is an SKSE mod, meaning it doesn't take a plugin slot and doesn't affect performance at all. That is replacing overused lock models with unique lock variants based on the place the lock belongs to. Dwemer chests and doors now have Dwemer-looking lock models. The Falmer Caves and Ruins chests will have locks that are made from chorus shells, and so on. But there is more. It has extra add-ons that expand this even further. For instance, adding regional locks for every hold, which makes so much sense by the way. So locks in Whiterun, Solitude, Windhelm, Ravenrock, Telmetrine will all look different, and not just randomly different, but having a look that actually fits them logically. You want more? Some of new locks will even have new sounds, like the Falmer lock here. Or a college lock here, where the animated gem glows the stronger the closer you are to picking the lock. As many of you know, I'm Ukrainian. While the world now knows the victory of Ukraine is only a matter of time, the terrorist state of Russia, in denial of this, resorted to sin it does best: terrorism. It launches dozens of missiles not at our military bases, but at critical energy infrastructure. My last blackout lasted almost 3 days. 3 days without electricity, water and heating at winter. During blackouts, not only basic things like showering or cooking are not available for me, but I also can't work. Work to bring you new content. With your help, I can buy a powerful generator and enough fuel. If you want to support me in this time, darkest since the beginning of this invasion, hop at my Patreon page to help me gather enough funds to be able to get through this winter despite the blackouts. Thank you. Now let's get to the finalists, though of course this may vary personally for some people depending on what kind of mods you see most important, so make sure to watch the first part of the video as well if you just skip to here. One of, well, many things that was always a lackluster in Skyrim is ironically dialogues. I mean, I don't even need to get started with the main quest dialogues where you have no practical choices whatsoever, or the idle dialogues and comments of NPCs. be it bandits or civil war soldiers, where in most of cases they were just repeating their 5-7 lines all the time. Mods here are technically few, but practically you can consider them as a single massive dialogues expansion that works only better together. Jaysepra dialogue and reaction mods are adding hundreds of new idle chat lines and comments to various factions in the game, as well as reactions to your character, be it your actions, your race, and so on. For instance, different bandit types will have different personality and making each of your encounters much more unique, personal, and unexpected. For example, the orcish bandit praising Malakat, female bandits mocking you with numbers of men she killed, and such. Carriage drivers will comment on the weather, complain about city specifics. Civil War side soldiers will have much more curses and insults for each other, comments about the events of the war, and even racial comments. And now, if you will enter the city with a conjured Atronak or a raised undead minion, well, let's say people will not be oblivious to a rotting walking corpse nearby anymore, and things can even eventually end up with an arrest if you will be keep disturbing the people. That's an optional feature, by the way. Mod author Jaysepra keeps being one of the immersion kings of Skyrim modding stage.
Traveling in the Reach is dangerous. You need a good carry.
Are you a necromancer? I don't like your kind. Get away from me.
Meet the mod that, without exaggeration, can be called the next generation of stealth mods, because it adds a fully functional craftable masks that conceal your identity to help with a crime spree, but working in a realistic way. For instance, wearing up a mask in front of the people will clearly make you spotted. So of course you want to wear a mask on and off somewhere where people don't see you. Oh, and viewing process is animated, by the way. Sentry system. Some of the humanoid NPCs such as city guards or bandits now may have a horn. When spotting a threat, they will use this horn to signal their allies in a large radius. This helps city guards to repel things like bandit raids from obbies, for example, much better. And for the player, it encourages more tactical gameplay, as you will now be interested in identifying and eliminating them first when clearing up bandit forts. Fully animated, cool looking and fully functional smoke bombs. Not only they will cover your presence to allow you sneak closer to enemies or escape from them, but also feature realistic effects on top. Enemies caged up inside the smoke will have their movement speed reduced and will erratically cough. That will obstruct their combat movement. Animated takedowns. You can now choke the NPCs from behind, rendering them unconscious for some time, without killing them and so having a smaller chance to alarm the others. And now, enjoy the view of how all these features are working combined together. Prepare yourself for a gameplay improvement so crazy, it would be an understatement to just call it next-gen even. It is simply a future of combat and related animations brought into Skyrim. Once again, technically I will be showing a combination of 3 mods here, but they are simply bound to be used together for the most incredible result. First mod, Movement and Combat Overhaul, does seemingly a simple thing. It removes Skyrim's two-dimensional ice skating movement. On practice, this allows results unseen for 10 years of modding. Incredibly detailed attack animations, chainable power attacks, animated charged attacks, animated transitions between the movements, and even properly working attack combos, like in most of modern action RPGs, where you can perform different animated movesets based on how you vary your attacks. Well, just look yourself. Here comes the next mod, Skyrim Combos AI Revolution, or just SCAR. When bringing such a revolutionary attacks animation system to your character, the contrast between you and the rest of the world becomes ridiculous, because NPCs cannot use those and still perform those boring vanilla attacks. SCAR fixes just that. It allows NPCs to also perform modern attack animations and attack combos on you and when fighting between themselves. This brings a game-changing feature where combat instantly becomes 10 times more fun and rewarding, as you will now have to learn every enemy attack patterns to fight them effectively, but at the same time you will be able to catch them into a trap with a devastating results. Even more, with the help of Dynamic Animation Replacer mod, you can even separate NPCs' animation between races, for instance. So Nords and Orcs, let's say, will have those bulky, berserker-looking weapon animations, while Khajiits and Redguards will have more stylish, agile movements. And now the polishing. Let's say you now have a new amazing twin blade animation. But thing is, weapon collision and hitboxes in Skyrim are literally being defined just by the weapon type and are just super limited in general. So in vanilla game, even if you have, let's say, two great swords where one is half longer than the other, their reach will still be the same. And your new fancy twin blade, despite all those crazy attack animations which visually look like multiple double-edged hits in a couple of seconds, will still actually land only single attack due to the vanilla collision of the weapon. Embarrassing, isn't it? The Precision mod adds this one last missing brick. Now your twin blade will actually land double-edged attacks during those crazy spinning moves. Your weapon hitbox will be correct as per its shape and size. Massive weapons will land the proper splash damage. Enchanted dual wielding will correctly trigger the enchanting effects on your targets, and just so much more. On top of that, Precision also offers such features as hit stop, recoil, hit reactions and weapon swing effects, with everything being fully configurable in MCM. The MCO SCAR Precision combination is the most incredible thing that happened to Skyrim's combat in years, and something to definitely look at if you think you already seen everything in this legendary game. That's all for now, folks. I hope you enjoyed this video and discovered something that will go right into your personal setup. Thanks for tuning in. Stay safe, stay healthy and stay happy. Let's see you again in 2023. Sinitar Gaming here, signing out.